Welcome to our exploration of values, principles, and ethics in social work. Today, we'll uncover the foundations of ethical decision-making, an essential aspect for every social worker. As highlighted here, ethics isn't just a concept. It's at the core of every action, every choice we make on behalf of individuals and communities. Through this lecture, we'll examine key theories, practical dilemmas, and the real impact of ethical choices in the field of social work. In social work, practitioners frequently encounter complex situations where there's no obvious right or wrong answer. Imagine moments where two possible actions both seem correct, yet each could lead to very different consequences for the client and the wider community. This complexity is at the heart of social work, requiring empathy, critical thinking, and a deep understanding of how our choices affect others. Social workers are constantly faced with situations that require them to think ethically, act carefully, and apply their professional judgment before making any decisions. This responsibility is not just about following rules, but about truly considering the impact of each choice on clients and the broader community. For example, imagine a social worker who must decide whether to protect a client's confidentiality or disclose important information to ensure the safety of others. This kind of ethical dilemma is common in the field, and it highlights the need for a thoughtful, balanced approach that weighs personal values, professional standards, and the potential consequences for everyone involved. Let's start with ethical relativism, the idea that there are no fixed moral rules. Decisions depend on context and consequences, aiming for the greatest good for the greatest number. Thinkers like Bentham, Mill, and Freud champion this view. For example, a social worker might share some client information with an NGO to speed up aid, even if that information is normally confidential. Ethical absolutism is a philosophical approach that asserts moral values are fixed and universal, meaning they do not change based on circumstances or outcomes. In this view, actions are judged strictly according to established moral principles, regardless of the potential consequences. Immanuel Kant is a key figure associated with this perspective. For instance, a social worker who practices ethical absolutism would maintain client confidentiality, even when facing significant pressure from external parties to disclose information. The principle of confidentiality itself is seen as non-negotiable, reflecting a commitment to unwavering ethical standards that guide professional conduct in every situation, no matter how challenging. Personal values such as honesty, compassion, and responsibility play a significant role in shaping how social workers make ethical decisions. Each social worker brings their own unique set of beliefs and values to their practice, which can help guide their actions and choices. However, these personal values sometimes come into conflict with the ethical standards of the profession. For example, a social worker may personally oppose divorce, but when a client chooses divorce for their own safety, the worker must set aside personal beliefs and provide support. This balance between personal conviction and professional duty is essential for ethical practice in social work. Cultural and religious backgrounds have a profound influence on how individuals perceive right and wrong, and this is especially important in social work. Social workers must be sensitive to and respectful of their clients' beliefs, even when those beliefs differ from their own. For example, in some cultures, family decisions are made by the head of the household, and understanding this structure is crucial before offering advice or intervention. By acknowledging and honoring these cultural and religious differences, social workers can build trust, foster effective communication, and ensure that their guidance is both respectful and relevant to the client's unique context. Tradition and law are critical factors in ethical decision-making for social workers. Ethical actions must always comply with the laws of the country and the policies of the organization. Sometimes, when the right course of action is unclear, legal requirements become the primary guide. For instance, social workers are legally obligated to report cases of child abuse, even if a client requests that the information remain confidential. This demonstrates how legal frameworks and ethical responsibilities often intersect, ensuring that the safety and well-being of vulnerable individuals are prioritized above all else, while still respecting the broader principles of justice and care. gender and politics play a significant role in shaping ethical decisions within social work. Social workers must be aware of how societal views, political power, and policies can create barriers or inequalities, especially for women and minority groups. The responsibility extends beyond recognizing injustice. It includes ethically supporting clients as they advocate for their rights. Imagine a policy that disadvantages certain groups. It's up to the social worker to help navigate these challenges, standing in solidarity and promoting fairness for all. When faced with tough choices, social workers can use an ethical assessment screen to guide decision-making. The key focus areas are protecting the client's rights and welfare, ensuring public safety, and minimizing harm to everyone involved. By asking whether each option upholds these principles, practitioners make more ethical, thoughtful decisions. This process ensures both individual and community needs are balanced with the least harm possible. The principle of least harm reminds us that not every decision leads to a perfect outcome. In social work, it's essential to choose actions that minimize negative consequences for clients, families, and communities. For example, when a teenage client admits involvement in a minor crime, the social worker must weigh whether reporting helps prevent future harm or might cause unnecessary trauma. Finding the path of least harm is often complex, but it's at the heart of ethical practice. Efficiency means making decisions that deliver the greatest positive impact with the fewest resources. Social workers strive to manage time, energy, and costs wisely, without sacrificing service quality. For instance, a community program may rely on local volunteers and existing resources to support low-income families, rather than depending solely on external funding. Efficiency isn't just about saving money, it's about maximizing benefit for clients and communities. In social work, ethical dilemmas often arise when two or more values or principles come into conflict. This is where the concept of rank ordering of principles becomes essential. When faced with such situations, social workers must carefully determine which ethical principle should take precedence to ensure the most responsible and ethical outcome. For example, protecting a client's life may sometimes require setting aside confidentiality or autonomy. By understanding and applying a clear hierarchy of principles, social workers can navigate complex cases with greater confidence and clarity, making decisions that are both ethically sound and in the best interest of those they serve. Let's explore the 5 core ethical principles in social work, each ranked by priority to guide decision-making. First and foremost is the protection of life. This principle always takes precedence, as safeguarding human life is the highest responsibility. Next is truthfulness, which requires social workers to be honest and provide accurate information to clients. The third principle is client self-determination, supporting clients' rights to make their own choices, as long as these choices do not cause harm. Confidentiality follows, emphasizing the importance of privacy, but allowing exceptions for valid professional reasons. Finally, social justice calls on social workers to promote fairness and equal opportunities for all. Consider the following scenario. Asmin, a high school student, seeks emotional support from his school social worker. During their counseling session, Asmin reveals that he feels overwhelmed by family problems and has even planned to end his own life. However, he pleads with the social worker not to tell anyone, fearing his parents' reaction. This situation presents a profound ethical dilemma. Based on the rank ordering of ethical principles, how should the social worker respond? The case challenges us to reflect on the balance between protecting life, respecting confidentiality, honoring client autonomy, and upholding honesty, all while ensuring Asmin's safety and well-being. In Asmin's case, protecting life takes top priority. The social worker must act immediately to ensure his safety, even if it means breaking confidentiality. Honesty is next, explaining clearly to Asmin why information must be shared. While respecting his autonomy is important, this right is limited when someone's life is at risk. Afterward, providing ongoing psychosocial support for Asmin and his family is crucial for recovery. Thank you for joining us on this journey through ethical decision-making in social work. As you continue your studies or professional practice, Remember the importance of prioritizing ethical principles, understanding cultural and legal influences, and always striving for justice and compassion. For further reading, we recommend Ethical Decisions for Social Work Practice by Dolgoff, Harrington, and Lowenberg, as well as works by Reamer. May you carry forward the values of integrity, empathy, and advocacy, making a positive impact in the lives of individuals and communities you serve.